Welcome back everyone. Today we're covering a quick start leveling guide for Necro in Season 2. This will focus on getting you to level 50 as fast as possible, while requiring no legendary items, vampiric powers, or assistance. You can just log in, create your character, and get started. In fact, you could do just that while you watch. It's that simple. This build will have a heavy focus on AoE, which is ideal for leveling, and the best place for that is the Domhainne Tunnels, which can be found just to the west of Korvac as seen here. The idea here is you zone in, clear most of the mobs in the first section of the dungeon, exit, reset, and repeat. This will get you the most experience per hour, and you can of course farm where or however you like, but this build is arguably the fastest in game for this particular area, so the guide will use that as an example. Our largest source of damage will come from Blood Surge, which is available at level 3. We'll place a point in Reap and then one in Enhanced Reap, prior to then putting 5 points in Blood Surge. The early stages will involve using Reap to generate your essence, but later we'll use Enhanced Iron Maiden to do that, and seldomly use Reap aside from when we completely run out or want the damage reduction that Reap provides for several seconds. Blood Surge will benefit from Blood-Bathed Aspect, whenever you choose to pick this up from Hoarfrost and Fractured Peaks. When you choose to obtain and imprint this is up to you. It's not needed for the low levels, so the recommendation is to wait until you get a big weapon upgrade and slap it on then. Once materials are more readily available, you'll be able to constantly change it to a new weapon and you won't need to be so selective. At this point, the skill tree basically fills itself in, and that's because we only place 1 point in the remainder of the active skills that we select. We may go deeper for things like enhanced traits, but we won't put 5 points or ranks into another skill. In addition to that, there's slightly more points than needed to select all the blood talents. In fact, we have a few leftovers that could be moved around based on your preference. The recommended skills and order can be found in the D4 builds link in the description, but since we basically get everything that we could want that synergizes with Blood Surge, we don't need to talk about why or how we made certain choices, which is perfect. You can just follow the guide and be confident that your character will stay strong all the way to level 50. In terms of gameplay, it's straightforward, and since we often take passive nodes with our skill tree, it really gives a good amount of time to get used to any new skills that we add along the way. Some key things to remember are to cast Iron Maiden before using Blood Surge. This will help ensure your essence stays topped off. I'd also recommend playing with keyboard and mouse, and although the build is viable with a controller, you'll be able to better aim your Iron Maiden with the mouse. Sometimes this can help you hit additional mobs for more essence with fewer casts and increase your clear speed. Also, once you have corpse tendrils, you'll really appreciate using the mouse over a controller, because unfortunately it's quite clunky otherwise. I've used a mix of keyboard and mouse plus controller gameplay to show you both styles are still viable in this video, but I still felt it was worth mentioning because that might be a factor for some people. As for the skill corpse tendrils, there's an aspect of grasping veins available from Corrupted Grotto and Kechistan, but this isn't really needed until later in the leveling process when your ability to kill elites slows down. This aspect will allow you to get a ton of crit after using Corpse Tendrils and makes it perfect for nuking the elites down along with everything else in the vicinity. Otherwise, you'll be left slowly reaping and casting Blood Surge when possible, and although you'll still likely manage to kill them, it'll slow the process down a lot. I'd say the point at which killing elites slows down is roughly in the mid-30s, and you might even find one on a legendary item before it's needed. Keep in mind, you can also use Bone Storm as an additional nuke, while that bonus crit is active, making short work of the elite and all other enemies around. Blood Mist is your immunity, and you can use health potions while in this form. It's your only immunity, but it's all that's needed to level. Aspect of Blood is a great pickup whenever you feel like grabbing it from Betrayer's Row in the Dry Steppes. It's not specific to any skills, so I didn't mention it until now, but I'd recommend you grab this around the late 20s. This will help keep essence topped off and speed your clears up going forward. To recap, Iron Maiden enemies to keep essence up, Blood Surge to kill them, Corpse Tendril for burst damage and combine with Bone Storm for additional damage on elites, Blood Mist if you're in danger, and Reap if needed to regen essence, but you won't need it that often as you get familiar with the build and style of play. This build is an amazing leveling build, and you'll get there quickly, at which point you can continue to farm with this build or swap to something else. I'll be continuing to cover Necro, and we'll keep the guides coming to progress your character past 50. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch, and have a great day.